Hey guys, welcome to episode 169 of 4PlayerAnimecast. It is 10:07 p.m. over on the uh, North American region, I guess, Canada/US. Of course, we have everybody here with us. I am your host, Spire, as per usual, in a pretty nice weather currently so far. Hopefully it holds because it was freaking snowing last week for some. It was literally snowing in broad daylight where I lived, and I was like, hey, is this happening? I guess this is a thing now. And my car almost got actually snowed in the morning. I looked outside of my window and I said, "What? Am I going to have to freaking go out and shovel snow out to get my car out? What's happening?" But thankfully, it all.
Yeah, climate change isn't real, dude.
Yeah, that's true. All hoax. But anyways, I am your host Spire, and I am here with my compatriots. Here, as per usual, Dark,
Hey,
Near,
Hello.
and of course, Toast.
did you guys see Kanata versus Korone fashion contest? It was pretty good.
Yeah, I saw bits and pieces actually. But yeah, so we are all gathered here today. I guess I'll go first. Oh, also we are doing this on a Sunday. Sorry to those of you who are.
Whose fault is that?
Well, I don't think it was any. Well, Dark had some rescheduling stuff, but yeah, we have this on Sunday, so going a little bit delayed, but it's fine. We actually kind of needed that time to sort everything, just because this season is just jam packed with not episodes, but series that we have to cover. I mentioned this to Dark and Near before we started this podcast. I have been reviewing anime seasons for, I want to say, 10 plus years by now, and I can I think this is one of, if not the only season where everybody has so much stuff to cover, and even after that, there are more series that we have to give a shout out to, or we should mention, or else we're just gonna miss those notable. There's so much to cover. So yeah. Anyways, I guess going back to what we've been up to these past 2 weeks, I haven't been up to too much. I've been a little bit more heavy on, doing my side hustle, which is not hustle really, because I'm not, getting any money, but translation stuff. Watch some anime. Um, what else? God, I freaking want to play Yukikoi Melt again. Honestly, wanted to play more visual novel stuff. Other than that, not too much going on. Uh, what about you, Nier?
Not too much. I've been mauling hard at Shadowverse.
Well,
Yeah,
you
the
know,
meta has settled, and it fucking sucks ass. Um,
You said that
it's
about last time too.
yeah, it's almost like the meta has sucked for a while in Shadowverse.
this is why I don't play anymore.
Pretty much ever since Shadow over Reveal, just because Shadow over Reveal was such a insane expansion with so many ridiculously strong cards, it has influenced expansions like afterwards, to, in my opinion, an unhealthy amount. Like so many decks are still running that package and they're still insanely strong. And there's like no signs of it like slowing down. Like the only time that expansion is not going to be like heavily relevant in the meta is when it rotates out.
No, I mean that's again
The one
we've
with the what is it?
It's the one with the vehicle package.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
we've talked about this before, but this is the standard side games power creep, right? It's like you're always going to have to leap to buy the most recent thing.
I mean, the weird thing is they've been toning down lately. It's like
No, yeah,
they
they can
released
tone it down, but they're always that's going to be their model forever.
yeah, like they released Shadows over Reveal, and they're like, holy shit, like this is a little ridiculous. Like we need to calm down. And the expansion after that, which I think was Grand Blue one, like the card effects were way more toned down, and people were like, wow, like the cards here are like aren't really that crazy strong, like when you compare it to the last expansion. And I feel like this expansion was relatively similar. But like because Shadows over Reveal was so strong, like it's still like meta defining. Just rather unfortunate, but it's the state of the game. But yeah, it's I've mostly just been modeling with that. Other than that, um, Nier Replicant came out, the remake for
Yes,
the original
yes.
Nier, and I can't play it because the port sucks cock, and it has motion blur on the entire screen, so I get physically ill when I play it, and you can't turn it off, so that's pretty cool. Um, Other than that, I've been watching anime, keeping up with Godzilla, which I've been liking quite a bit. I watched uh, Mashiro no Oto, which I'll be covering.
Yes.
Um, and I watched like one more episode of Jujutsu Kaisen in a vain attempt to catch up. And I'm still
It's not
very
happening.
behind.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah.
Okay. Toast, what about you?
I bought the polo skin. It's pretty good.
Okay.
That's all you've done in 2 weeks.
Pretty good, I guess. Question mark. Anything else, Toast?
No,
Oh, okay. Sure. Dark. Do you
I,
have
mean-
anything?
I, I
more?
mean, like, do you mean anything new? Like anything new or the usual?
I mean, if it's the usual, that's fine. We don't have to go over it because you've given us the rundown.
Oh,
Dark.
what rundown? What?
Are you
Given
okay,
us,
dude?
you've given us what what you usually do before, so we don't need to go over it again. It's usually stuff like older anime
Uh,
movies or
oh,
all live
here's
stuff
the
or
new.
whatever.
Here's the new one.
Okay.
I'm watching Natori's final live streams before she graduates. There you go.
Yeah. What is it? Dark.
Um, the Jujutsu Kaisen soundtrack came out, so I've been listening to that like nonstop. That OST's pretty awesome.
Okay.
Other than that, I'm continuing my suffering route of becoming a fucking light lord in Grand Blue. So that's been something.
Which one of you said they were becoming a VTuber? Was that you, Dark?
What?
What? I thought you
What?
said this is your final route to becoming a VTuber. Was that you, or am I thinking of someone else?
That had to have been someone else, I think. Unless there was like a joke about something. I don't remember any news recently. I would have said that about. Trying to think. I don't know. Oh no, was that? I don't know if it was me, but it was probably in reference to that fucking was it that like right wing like VTuber thing? Or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fuck.
That's awesome. I forget what that company was called, but
What
you
the
know.
fuck? Okay.
Yeah, hashtag no censorship, bro. Okay. But other than that, watched more Jouran, What else is new other than being, forced into watching shows that are not good?
Oh, y'all seen the Mortal Kombat movie?
I didn't. I heard it was really bad though,
No,
so I
I heard
don't want
it's
to
I heard
see.
it's garbage,
I mean, there's
which
no way it's
is
gonna
shocking
top.
nobody.
No way it's gonna top the '90s one.
Which
There's no
one? The first one or the second one?
first one.
The first one was pretty fun, but the second one was just like that.
I can't believe they did
Which was the second
Johnny
one?
Cage dirty
Annihilation?
I think so. Yeah.
with like Sector and all that.
Yeah, it
That was
sucked.
great.
Yeah, I heard people comparing it to that, like exactly that. People were like, it starts out like kind of cool with Sub-Zero and Scorpion and stuff, and then it quickly just becomes like Annihilation levels bad.
Cool.
Does it even have the song? It can't be Mortal Kombat without the song.
It probably fucking does at some point. But I don't know. I've seen but I have seen a lot of things. I've seen some very like stupid takes as well. Like someone describing it, it's like, yeah, the action scenes are bad. It's like a Marvel movie. I was like, well, or
What?
the choreography, and I'm
Oh.
like, well, I don't know if you've seen any of the Captain America movies, but
Yeah, they've had pretty good
choreography is like really good. Like maybe not like some of the other movies. Like I think like fucking, or even like Spider-Man like doesn't really have any fights, but like
Yeah, that
Avengers with
Winter Soldier had the best fight choreography, and that's obvious why.
yeah, Winter Soldier
Oh
was
yeah, for
awesome.
sure. Yeah, that was good.
But yeah. um and yeah, I think for me that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not too much going on. Pretty quiet in the past 2 weeks, but that's better than you know. That's better than nothing. And so I guess we'll just go right along. We have a lot of sort of series as per usual that is this season. Um, go on with. So Nier, what do you have for us?
I watched a show called Mashiro no Oto, uh, which is localized as Those Snow White Notes. Um,
Mm-hmm.
this is a series, a music series, about the shamisen, also known as funny Japanese banjo. Um, and this is done by Shin Animation. I forget what else they've done recently. Um, they're working on the World Ends with You anime. They did apparently Pui Pui Molcar, hit series.
Legend.
The legend.
Yeah, and of course, some Crayon Shinchan stuff and Takagi-san.
Okay.
But
Oh,
yeah,
Takagi. Okay.
um, the series is a little weird to talk about, because the basic premise is so far extremely simple. The main character, Sawamura Setsu, um, grew up with his grandfather, who is a apparently like godly shamisen player. He was a master,
Mhm.
and people would come all around to listen to him. And because he grew up with his grandpa, who played the shamisen constantly, he fell in love with it. He learned to play it as a kid. Um, and recently, his grandfather died. Um, and
Was
uh,
that a shamisen related injury?
no, he was
Oh.
old and he died. But before he died, he asked his grandfather to teach him uh, his impromptu piece, they call it, which I guess is like a player's like personalized own piece that I guess they work on throughout their entire life or whatever. Um, and his grandpa said, "No, I won't
Nope.
teach it to anybody. Um, if you want to play it, you'll have to steal it with your own sound." Is the
I,
words he uses.
You have to
Um,
earn that Shamisen sound.
yeah, and so that's pretty much about it. After that, the main character leaves his own town. He goes off to Tokyo to sort of like find himself. He bumbles around for a bit in the first episode, where he meets this girl who's I guess like a wannabe like actor or something. Um, and she's in like magazines and stuff. She's basically like a pinup girl or whatever the series calls her.
Mhm.
Um, and her life is kind of down in the dumps. He helps her out. He plays the shamisen. It does the typical music series thing where it's like, wow, I heard your music and my life has changed. Um, the first episode is kind of just like bumbling around. Just be like, hey, check it out. This guy could play the shamisen. Um, but it sort of, you know, does that for a bit, and then I guess those characters kind of just leave for some reason. And then the main character's like mother comes into the picture, and then she sets him up with like a high school because I guess he dropped out or something when he left his hometown. Um, and then he meets a couple of other characters, and like they start like a shamisen club basically. And the one girl who like founded the club, the reason she founded it is because her grandmother heard like this shamisen player way back when she was a kid, um, and she's like looking for that, like to hear that song again. And it turns out that that song she heard was the main character's like grandfather's like impromptu piece. So he decides to try to learn it with his own sound, and it kind of goes from there, like finding your own sound thing. um but the series is pretty interesting as like a music series goes, because it does the typical like um music series trope of like where it's like they start playing the music, and then the backdrop changes, and like everyone's like, oh my god, like I'm like being teleported to another world. It's so emotional, you know. It
Oh
does
yeah,
that.
yeah, no. Wait, can I say something? Nir was talking about it's like so I was talking about with him trying to kind of refer to because everybody's kind of put this refer back to something like Kono to Tomare is one of the ones that I think people knee jerk towards, right? And then we were kind of discussing the pacing of it, kind of the differences and so on. And he mentioned something like I was like, well, is it kind of going the pacing of Kono to Tomore, where there's kind of setting up the dual rails of one rail is the character perspective subplot, right, or character development subplot, and the or slash growth subplot, and the other one is their training to become sort of one with the music or whatever, right? Um, and Nero was just like, no, they're just like it's not really, it doesn't really have any place that it's going. It's just like, oh, I just really love the music or whatever, right? And
Yeah.
you know what and we also talked about how it kind of avoids the sort of the gay boys genre, like as one might think it would kind of head towards, which is a little bit more something like Uranus, something like that. Kind of avoids it by utilizing the background cast a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
And I suddenly thought like when Nier was talking about how they were like, oh, I love the music. I want to be one with the I'm one with the music or whatever. you know, the trap that Nier caught himself in. He's essentially watching, in a sense, he's essentially watching the shamisen version of Free, right? Like, you realize,
Man,
isn't that what it
no,
is?
no. I mean,
Come
not
on,
really,
right? Right.
because like,
I see Spire. I see a girl in this photo. That means it's not free.
There's a girl
yeah,
in Free
that's
too,
true.
though,
That's
right?
true.
There's a girl,
This one has two
two
girls,
girls. That is
Yeah,
true.
wow.
Two girls.
but
Like I only remember the
was it?
one girl in Free. Was there anyone else? I don't think so.
I forget. No, I don't think so. I think there was that one girl in Free.
but because Free sets up very early on the rival, right?
Yeah, the rivalry subplot is pretty big.
Yeah, and so there are seeds of that in this. The guy with the glasses on the left in the image, he's apparently some like I guess shamisen like celebrity. He's got a big following, like
Uh-huh.
of like female fans because he's like so handsome and cool. Um, and
Oh,
they're
this kind of, sorry for interrupting, but for trying to put it, but I also want to put in almost another cross reference where it's like the way you're describing how the cast is unfolding almost reminds me of
Me?
a standard like shogi or like go series. You know what I mean? Because those, or
Yeah.
like something like Chihaya Furu, or like those game kind of series where it's like Dark. I mean, both you, Nier, and Dark, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? It's like they have like the kind of like the token girls who are playing, and then they have like the cool master guy, and then they have the sidekick, and then they have the dude. You know what I mean? Like they
Yeah,
have
and
that
then
sort
like
of
your
test.
friend tells you to watch that series, and then really the series is a shoujo series, and then they kind of didn't
Come
tell you
on,
about that
man.
part.
Come on, man.
You got like so
Come
far
on.
into it that it doesn't even matter anymore. Yeah, I remember that.
Anyways, keep going. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a sort of like seed planted for like the
Mhm.
rivalry stuff.
Right. Right.
At the very end of the fourth episode, which in my opinion is the best episode so far. There's a scene where the mom uh hears about how her son is joined like the shamisen club, and then she like brings up like I guess a pamphlet for like a competition kind of thing, and she's like, it's time to like start like my plan or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, which I guess is to get him like really like to come out of his shell more and like get like you know be more interested in playing shamisen for something other than just like himself, just like his sheer like I love playing shamisen. Um, but there's a couple other stuff going on with the cast. There's like inklings of like a little bit of romance here and there
Mhm.
between some of the characters.
But the romance is
And
more just to add like a little bit of value here and there to
yeah,
just
I
like the
think
viewers more than anything else. Yeah.
it's more of just like something to
Extra
grasp
value. Yeah,
onto
exactly.
to the characters. I don't think it's really going to be focus. Um, there's some interesting stuff between the main character and his brother, his older brother who also plays shamisen, because his older brother competes, um, and there's a couple interesting uh, exchanges between them.
Wait,
With like
there's like shamisen tourneys or something?
yeah, like
How,
Competition,
competitions
yeah.
and stuff.
how do you compete in that?
Whoever plays better. It's the same with violin competitions or
Yeah.
piano competitions or
So that is,
Toast got me thinking like those like banjo duels that they have in
yeah,
Pirate.
isn't it like that? Like how do you tell which one's better? Like they play the instrument better? What
They
if it's
play
the same
very
pretty
instrument?
much.
much.
Yeah,
Very
pretty
much.
much.
Yeah, I believe that is how most competitions work.
It's the
person
same
plays the
instrument.
best.
It'll all sound the same. Like how do you lose? Does one of them have like a itchy finger or something? How does this
No,
work?
they're not playing. They're not. I'm sure they're not playing the same music.
It's like
Like
how
I
Shokugeki no
imagine
Soma
it has
works,
to be
right?
like
It's like
improv.
Yeah, it's
What is
just
it?
judges and shit.
yeah,
So
it's
it's
just
just whoever has the better song. Just make them
I
play the
mean,
same thing.
regardless, they don't get
That way
too
they'll know
deep
who's
into
better.
like the competition thing yet.
Oh.
But
Also,
like the thing I was
string
talking about,
instruments aren't like you don't just like play them and then it's like, well, you're a master. Like it all sounds exactly the same.
yeah, there are a lot of different
Like
interpretations.
there's a difference between string instruments and wind instruments, right? Like
Yes.
Yeah, one
one's
uses
one's
string,
yeah,
breathing,
and the other one
one
is
uses
wind.
wind.
yeah,
One
one's
uses
breathing
strings.
control, one's just playing with your hands. Like you
Well,
should be able to tell who's
Forehead.
better.
the playing with the hands part
just
does
play,
take a little
just
bit,
play with your hands.
bro.
Just
Indeed, you
use
just
your
play with your hands.
fingers, dude. What are you doing?
Yeah, but breathing control is way harder than finger control. What's up with that?
No.
Well, the thing is, I mean, this is getting a little bit off topic, but essentially, like just how it's like pieces increase in difficulty to match sort of the quote unquote sort of how do I say dexterity that comes with the instrument. So it's like you'll see a lot of like top end pieces for something like a wind instrument, right, like an oboe or whatever, tend to be less quote unquote difficult if you just look at the sheet music than something that has a violin, right? But obviously, the reason why part of the top end, the top difficulty pieces for a violin seems much more difficult on sheet music is because people have grown to have suitable dexterity, and it's the same with piano, right? Playing a piano and keeping in tune and doing whatever is overall easier than playing a string instrument, right, and keeping in tune and doing everything. So accordingly, if you look at a piano's sheet music, it's much, much more complex and difficult than a standard, again, violin sheet music, so on. But again, that's neither here nor there. So
Sorry, it's
sorry.
easier to train your fingers than it is to train your lungs.
Which is what I just explained.
There's something called asthma and
I
black
think that's
lung disease.
everybody
completely
has.
different. I think that's
Could
completely
totally
I'm gonna
change the
blow your
way
mind right now, but there
lungs
are
work.
also ailments for
the
joints.
finger. Yeah, there are also ailments that affect the finger.
Yeah, but they're not as detrimental as having like one lung.
No.
Well, how
left lung.
detrimental?
No,
How detrimental?
I
Well-
would say like arthritis or
What do you-
like
what do you
carpal
mean?
tunnel
Like-
is a bit more detrimental than like
How detrimental do you
someone
need
with
something to
asthma.
be?
You can you can have a robot arm
Also-
replace your fingers, but you can't have a robot lung. Iron lungs are like no longer exist anymore.
Yeah, but you can also like
Totally
yeah,
artificial
because they
lungs.
kind of just give people like new lungs
Yeah,
instead of
organ transplants exist.
Yeah,
Anyways,
but
can we
they don't work all the time. You know the Phantom, the Phantom
fucking
Limb
like a hand
syndrome?
transplant is way
useless.
worse.
Phantom limb syndrome, where suddenly you gain the mannerisms of whoever's lungs you stole. I've seen the videos where
someone gets a fucking hand transplant, they're gonna
It's like-
go crazy
yeah,
and
sorry.
think they're the person that had that hand.
I've
it's
seen
like
the videos
how,
where people speak in tongues when they've had a transplant. And it's like, whoa,
I think that's
where'd you learn that?
Crazy. I think it's like those jokes that people make about when they receive like what is it, like heart or like transplants or whatever. That's like how like you can use like pig heart or whatever or like heart from different animals for part of your transplant.
As they become pigs. I saw that video.
And then they joke about like being part pig or whatever. But anyways, this is neither here nor there. So Nier, please continue with whatever you're
Yeah.
talking about.
So the reason I brought up the competitions is because the main character's older brother, he competes, and
Right.
there's and early on there's a character interaction between the main character and the older brother, where the older brother, he gets third place in the competition, and the main character is like, "Wow, that's pretty impressive."
Mhm.
And he goes,
That's-
"No, it's really not that impressive because like And then they talk about these other characters, which they're obviously foreshadowing for the later like competition arc that I'm sure this series will go through. But he drops a line that I found pretty interesting because not a lot of music series say stuff like this, where the older brother says, "It doesn't matter how much emotion you put into your music. If you're
Yes.
bad, you're bad."
Yes,
Fire, can you confirm?
yes, he's right.
Yeah. And I was actually pretty surprised to see a line like that in a music series, because most music series they kind of follow the same formula where the main character is
Emoting
like,
is justice. Emoting.
yeah, like the main character is either has some sort of like technical limitation holding him back, or there's something in his mind that's holding him back, but then like he discovers the emotion of music, and then like he wows the crowd, and then he wins the day, even though when you are in a competitive situation, it does not matter how much emotion you put into your music. If you are technically not up to snuff,
Mm.
you will lose.
Right. There's something to be so it's like technically so you do get like inevitable, how do I say this, interpretive bonus points at the top level if you do some sort of emoting. But that's a very like it's the top layer, like top cherry on the cake. And the rest of the cake has to be solid fundamentals. Or
Yeah.
like
But yeah, outside of that, I do like this series a lot. I was saying before the podcast to Spire, I think the first 4 episodes are relatively aimless because there's not really a clear like goal other than the main character, quote unquote, finding his sound. And the way the series does that is mostly just like bumbling around, playing music, playing music to different people, having other people play music around you, stuff like that. But in episode 4, it's the episode where the main character does actually play his interpretation of like his grandfather's impromptu piece.
Oh, okay.
and he plays it to the club leader girl's grandmother. And it's a really, really good piece. The music in the series is fucking awesome, by the way.
Now, by the way, I just want to point out that like for the most part, if you have like a music series and your OST isn't very good, you you're already going bad places.
Yeah, it's quite good. But yeah, the way he plays his grandfather's piece is by sort of simplifying it on a technical level, just because they play the grandfather's piece before he plays it, and
Yep.
it's like it's insane. Um, like it's a ridiculous piece. Like the amount of like notes he's hitting. Like they describe the main character describes the piece as like it sounds like he has like 10 fingers on his left hand.
Oh,
But yeah, it's a pretty ridiculous piece. But he simplifies it a bit more, so he can play it for the grandmother. And the way it sort of so most music series they kind of do the typical like visualization of music. You know what I mean? Where
mhm.
like
Weird.
the person will start playing music, and within like the first three notes, um, you know,
Prismatic wind.
the backdrop will darken or brighten up or whatever. There will be some crazy effects going on.
As I
The
said,
wind will blow through their hair.
prismatic aurora.
Or they'll be
kind of.
Yeah.
underwater. That's a good
They'll
one.
go whoa. And this series does do that. But in this episode, when he starts playing the piece, it's sort of it shows like landscape pieces from like Meiji era Japan.
Oh,
Like
is
it
it like
shows like a
is it like kakie like tapestry kind of level kind of or
no,
sort of,
no,
or is
no.
it, or is it just
It's mostly just drawn, but it is so nice. It'll show like like a snowy field or like
Mm.
like a beach, like a very almost monotone beach with like fishing huts and stuff. Um, and it sort of captures for me. It's a very good way to capture the way that the shamisen um, is sort of able to take you back to a time that like you never really were there, right? But just
Mhm.
listening to the shamisen can sort of take you back
Right,
to
right.
that era, and it's almost like a nostalgia for a time you never lived. And I
It's
think it
it's
did
it's like it's like so. I myself also have a weakness for like this is part of why um like like Asian historical like drama kind of stuff where they're just like it's like feudal level kind of stuff. I
yeah.
really like those settings. So
Yeah.
it's kind of
But yeah, it's a very, very like the fourth episode, I think, so far has been like the high note of the series. It's a pretty emotional episode. It's a very good episode, just in general. Like the music in it is very impressive.
mhm.
Um, but yeah, uh, I really do like this series, but it's kind of hard for me to be like. It's kind of hard for me to necessarily say that this series is going to be good or bad really, because so far these first few episodes are again they're fairly aimless. A lot of it's just like the main character being like, you know, I want to play the shamisen, you know, I love the shamisen, it's fucking awesome kind of thing. Um,
Well, does it seem like it will go somewhere, or like does it imply like it could go somewhere, or is it like
I
not
mean,
giving clues as to where?
it's tricky, right? Because right now, at the very tail end of episode 4, it does sort of set up like we're probably going through a competition arc, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, and the question is how exactly the series is going to do the competition arc, because the main
Mhm.
character has expressly said, like in the past, like in flashbacks and stuff, that like he's not interested in like competition. He doesn't really care for like renown or fame. Like he literally just wants to play the shamisen.
Mhm.
Um, so it will be sort of interesting to see like how the series handles the competition arc. But you know, I feel like the competition arc is sort of like where music series like either fall flat on their face or like they're solid, right? So it's kind of hard for me to be like, yeah, this will probably be good, or yeah, this will probably be bad, because like the characters haven't really um given me any like direction of which way the series will probably go, because a lot of them, like, they're good on screen. They're not like annoying to watch or anything, but they're not like inspiring me like with like wow, these are such deep, crazy original characters or anything. Like they're just like they're there. um
Right.
and for the most part, like what the most, I guess, value I'm getting out of this series is the music itself, right? Um, there is 1 to 2 shamisen performances like every episode,
Mm.
and the series knows like to respect the music, right? When a character is playing, there's not very much talking over the music. Um, there's very little like sound effects. There's no like whooshing and
The music is king.
yeah. There's no like distorting the music. Like the music is like it speaks for itself, right?
Mhm.
And that's something I really like about this series. But in terms of like where it'll go and what the characters will be like I'm not 100% sure, because most of this series seems to be like, yeah, the shamisen fucking awesome. Listen to it, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Okay. That's pretty interesting. It seems like a much more, how do I say it? It almost seems like an exhibit in an art gallery, right? In a sense where it's like you're just setting it down. It's like here it is, right?
in a
They're
way, yeah,
almost not selling it, right? They're just like this is the thing, right? This is what we have, kind of,
yeah.
which is a
It
very
is.
interesting way to go for it.
It is very interesting because a lot of a lot of music series, they kind of just go like, you know, music is magical and it's so amazing and wonderful, and it moves you in ways, and you know and the way this series sort of treats music, or at least treats the shamisen, is sort of like, when you're playing the shamisen or when you're listening to the shamisen, it's sort of like a portal to like, um almost like another time or another place. It's like, memories you never had or memories you did have. Um, it I feel like it kind of reveres it a little more without it like being silly. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, but it is a very interesting series. I probably would recommend it if you like the shamisen. Um, I do like the shamisen. I think it's a very cool instrument, especially like the shamisen on its own, which is pretty much all the pieces in this. Um, there is one scene where uh, the main character's mom uh, tells the main character, like, start playing, um, and she starts singing too, and it's
Mhm.
really really good. Um, but for the most part, like, all the pieces are like just solo shamisen. There is a duet where the main character plays with his brother as well. That's really awesome. Um, but yeah, like a lot of the value that I've gotten out of this is just like listening to the shamisen, uh,
Mhm.
and like really good performances for it too. Um, but yeah, it's an interesting series. It's fairly unique so far, um, especially like when compared to other music series, I think. But I'm not 100% sure if I'm being like, yeah, this is going to be good. Because again, it's been fairly aimless so far, and it's mostly just focused on playing. Um, but I do like it quite a bit.
Right. Okay. So, um, how do I say this? This might seem like an obvious question, or maybe not, depending, because I don't know your perspective on this quite yet, because I still think that this is a little bit developing field in this genre. But in terms of, let's say you, how do I say it? let's say the production committee slash the writer, because this is, I believe, a manga original, right?
Yep.
Came to you and then they said,
Mm.
should we model this more like a standard, like one of like the music series or competition series that we've seen, right? Like July and April or whatever, or should we try to go for a completely different direction? If they said that to you, what would you tell them?
I feel like, I mean, me personally,
Mhm.
I would say just go in a completely different direction because I like seeing unique series. But I feel like if I was in a position,
That's the because obviously you sort of see what I'm getting at, right? It's like it's easy to say like, oh, obviously, like you
yeah,
should, yeah,
like if I was, in a position,
uh,
in a studio where I held like sway, um, I would obviously very likely be more inclined to say, you know, Your Lie in April was a very successful series, music series that follow that general um, uh, pattern, I guess. Typically, are well received. Uh, I don't think I would really have any incentive to go against that uh, trend, right? Um, so I don't really expect necessarily the entirety of this series to, go against the standard music series formula.
mhm,
But these first four episodes have been quite unique, I think, for that like I guess subgenre. Um,
right,
so it's very interesting to see. I do think as the series goes on, it'll probably take on more. Um, Elements of typical music series because I mean series like this just tend to do that. Um, but I think it's a cool series.
hmm, okay. So again, that was Nier covering Mashiro no Oto. I know this is not, the easiest of series I think to analyze, and I don't say that about a lot of series, but I do think that this one was a little bit harder to kind of judge on its surface. Even something like, you know, I guess in a sense it's facetious of me to refer to this, but like it's kind of like how Rakugo was, right? It's a little bit harder to um or like something like Funeo Amu, right? It's a little bit harder to evaluate it straight on the surface. But
Yeah.
I'm glad that you took on the responsibility, and I'm thankful that you
One thing I
reviewed it
do want to
yourself.
shout out for this series though is that you know how most music series
Mhm.
they'll show the close up of the hands, right?
Right, right, right.
And very 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 commonly the hands are CG.
Hmm.
Um, they're hand drawn in this series. It's quite nice.
Okay, okay. Oh, so that's actually pretty good. Yeah, usually it's like becomes really awkward when you see the close-ups and you're like, yeah, that's not working. Sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean they reuse some of the shots here and there, but like yeah, it's all 2D. It's
Okay,
quite nice.
okay. Okay, so that was that, and then again, so thank you, Nier, for helping to cover that. And with that, we'll move on to Toast. What do you have for us?
Me?
Yes.
So you like sweaty dudes, right? Sweaty shamisen, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, let me hit you up with more sweaty guys.
Okay.
My series is Shakunetsu Kabaddi or Burning Kabaddi.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure all of you know of the grand illustrious sport that is Kabaddi, so I'm going to skip over that. Let's go over to our main character. Crap, what was his name? The, the white haired guy. So the white haired guy, he's a Nico live streamer, right?
Yes.
But the thing is, he used to be this super all-star athlete called Yoiguchi the Unstoppable or something, because he's a soccer prodigy. But
Okay.
then his team is all like, "Damn, he's too good for us. Why don't you tone back a bit? We can't keep up with him." He's like, "Dang, you guys suck. I hate teamwork." So he quits the team after middle school, and in high school he becomes a Nico Nico live streamer with like 6 followers. Good for him. And he's all like, "What?" He's all like, "The real world sucks. I don't need teamwork. I like to keep my relationships uh, uh what's the term at arm's length because I'm on Nico Nico." And he's like, "Okay, nerd." And then the bald headed guy comes in. He's all like, "Hey, you're that famous soccer player, middle school prodigy, right? It's high school now. I heard you aren't joining any clubs, but hey, you should join the Kabaddi club." He's all like,
Okay.
"No, I don't want to." And then he forces him in because he's got great leg strength, and he drags him away. And then he meets the muscly dude with no eyes and the perm guy, and then they do Kabaddi stuff. That's about it. So far, there's I've watched 4 episodes of this, and they've not just now introduced all the characters. You got the glasses guy who's like the vice captain, and then the other guy which got introduced in episode 4 is that Mayazumi looking dude who's the team captain. He's all sickly and came back from the hospital. I was like,
Okay.
what? How's he the team captain? But then he figures out why, and then the dude Yoiguchi's like, "Wow, you're really strong. I guess Kabaddi is fun." The end.
What
So,
the? Okay.
uh, 4 episodes in, okay. All they've done so far is just character introductions, building up the team, uh, explaining the rules of Kabaddi. You guys know the rules of Kabaddi, right? I don't need to go through it. Yes, we all played Kabaddi in high school, correct?
No, no.
What?
No.
What?
I don't think that's no.
Dark Near? Have you guys played Kabaddi?
No,
Why not?
I'd honestly never heard of it.
Yeah, I don't know what Kabaddi is.
I guess you guys' schools aren't cultured because I didn't play Kabaddi either.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I'll explain. Kabaddi is like a mixture of tag and wrestling, grappling, what you want, we want to put it. You got this one. You got one guy. There's a team of 5 to 7, but it's usually 7. But in the anime case, they're like, we don't have enough members, so we'll play with 5. And it's like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Even though there's 1, 2, 3, 6 people, I don't know what they're doing. Whatever. So yeah, team of 7 people. And then you take turns attacking and defending. When it's your turn to attack, you got one person called the Raider, who the area is split into 2. Kind of looks like a basketball court, smaller, whatever. You got one dude on your team called the Raider, who has to penetrate enemy lines and tag as many people as he can, and then run back to your line. That's how you score points. But the catch is, as the Raider, you gotta say Kabaddi the entire time while
Wait,
you're
what?
yeah, you gotta say Kabaddi the entire time when you're on the opposing side, the other
Wait, you're not
side
joking,
team.
right?
No,
Spire, how do you not know this?
What the fuck?
you got to do it all in like one breath. So you got your one dude saying "Kabaddi, Kabaddi,
What
Kabaddi"
the
over again
fuck?
until he passes out, and during that time frame, you got
What the fuck? Okay.
man. Wow, Spire, you're so insensitive.
Honestly,
This is
so
a
I'm looking
national
up.
sport.
I'm looking up Kabaddi. Apparently, originated in India.
Yeah, it's a.
Why are they so fucking weird?
Near
Near, this is the national
Yeah, they
sport of
got like
Bangladesh.
funny fucking like bats for their game with sticks and shit. Now you got Kabaddi.
Yeah,
I
Oh
don't
my god.
understand.
But
be
yeah,
normal.
you got to do it in one breath, and then the defender's job is once a person gets tagged on the defender's side, you have to stop the attacker, the raider, from going back to their side and scoring points. So, you tackle them, and
Yeah, I got a
it's
question for you. How's this a sport if it doesn't have a ball?
this is a
True.
how is wrestling a sport if it has no
It's not.
ball?
It's not.
It's just sweaty men just tackling each
Yeah,
other.
swimming and sumo aren't sports either, I guess.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, so what makes the attacker hard is you have like 7 people trying to tackle you all at once. So whatever.
So is this? Can I? So is this? You know how usually in sports series there's like focus between explaining the sport and doing the sport, whatever, and like character growth / development, and they're the sort of two balancing forces of the plot usually. What's the balance like? Is it?
What do you expect? Four episodes in, all they've done is training practice. I haven't even been introduced to the posing tournament arc yet.
Really? Okay.
So it's like, okay, so first episode, here's your intro to Kabaddi. Here's the rules. Second intro, we're gonna go into a little more about different roles. Third episode, now
Just pretty much
we're
all
playing
the
as a
sports.
team.
Okay.
Fourth episode, here's the team captain.
Okay.
And it's like now we're getting to the good parts in episode 4 where we get to the supernatural aspects, the real burning portion of
The
Kabaddi.
spirit of Kabaddi.
Yeah, there you go. Oh. Apparently, according to the anime, Kabaddi was originated from primitive hunting, where you have to tackle and wrestle wild boars and stuff without any weapons. I don't know. Sure.
You're like, I guess.
Okay.
I like how Toast is like, all right.
Yeah. As the boar goes, Kabaddi, 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 Kabaddi.
And then you wrestle it to the ground with your team. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of cool.
So I guess it's mostly just focusing on the sport itself, but
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have any real negatives about it. I guess animation's smooth all the way. The opening looks kind of cheap though. It's literally just red and white like streaks, and then the characters, and I'm like, is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
And then the ending's kind of the same, looks the same way. But yeah, Kabaddi. All
right.
Is it good? I guess. I don't have any real complaints.
I mean, it does what it sets out to do from what it seems like, right? Which is
sweaty high school kids tackling each other at Kabaddi. I mean,
because they call it. God, I fucking crack up every time Toast describes this fucking sport.
Does it explain why they have to just
say comedy?
Say Kabaddi over and over again? Like, is there a purpose to that?
Because that's
It's
what a board
tradition.
does.
I mean, no, but my
Obviously,
take
you've
is
never met a wild boar.
it's your test as a man to see how long you can hold your breath or whatever.
Okay.
It's the right of manhood to be able to say Kabaddi for like 60 seconds without breathing.
Nice.
It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard, you know.
I'm not doubting that it's pretty hard.
Or one breath you can only say Kabaddi, and if you and you can't once your
So
time's
what
up,
happens
you gotta
if
run
you
back.
breathe?
You have to run back to your side. And it's like, damn, you lost your chance to attack. Now to switch sides.
Okay. Okay.
Apparently, when you score points, like the people you tag, they're out. So you know, the more points you score, the less people will be defending, and the only way to bring them back in is if you score your points back. So it is like those are tag rules. So
I don't
Okay.
think I don't think there's any way to get like back in with tag. Like
Yeah, it is. With tag, if you
Are you
tag
talking
someone,
about flag football? You're
What?
talking about flag football, right? Is
You're
that
talking
or
about
not?
tag.
Not
Well,
sorry,
no,
not flag football. I meant like stuff like capture the flag, like being in jail. Is that what you're talking about?
like if you tag someone, they're out, and if you tag someone, that person's out, and you get one person on your team back in. This is how you play. What is it? Ultimate tag? Is that it? When you're on a team?
Not
Oh,
sure.
I think so.
Yeah,
Maybe.
so it's like that. But yeah, Kabaddi.
Comedy.
The only reason I picked this is because there was that one episode on Full Metal Panic where that dude kept saying Kabaddi, Kabaddi, Kabaddi over and over until he passed out, and I was like, damn,
that's hardcore.
that is pretty hardcore and interesting. I remember that scene. Let's take a look.
this is interesting.
Anyways, that's
But yeah,
yeah.
the series is pretty good. I mean,
I'm not gonna
I'll
lie,
keep
like
watching.
like the way you described it makes it seem much more fun like than I expected. So Jesus. Anyways,
Oh
thank you.
no, there's no surprise erections yet. If that's what you're asking. What I rate it? I don't know, 7 out of 10, I guess. There's 7 people on a team.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. Watch it. It's. Is this the only sports? No, there was that one about the.
There's a
What
soccer
is it?
one.
The moped? No, so there's a soccer one this season.
Yeah, there's a soccer
Yeah,
one this
Kramer.
season.
Yeah.
Will it be better than Kabaddi? We'll see.
Yeah, it's Kramer, so they have to say the N word a bunch of times while playing soccer until they pass out.
Yeah,
That's not funny.
that's burning Kabaddi. A bunch of guys playing tag and wrestling. Like, you go for the legs, you can slam their face into the ground, knock them out. Good stuff. The end.
Okay. Thank you, Toast, for or helping to review Shakunetsu no Kabaddi or Burning Kabaddi. He definitely made it seem a lot more fun than I had expected from the series. But definitely check it out if you want to check out one of the more interesting sports series of this season. And with that,
Did you know there was a what is it? There was a nationwide petition to show burning Kabaddi in India. And I was like,
what really?
good job. You go team. I'll root for you.
Oh Jesus. Anyways, Dark, what do you have for us?
Oh boy. You know, I got a real change of pace for this week. I have another series. Get this. It's not good.
What are you talking about, Dark?
Man, I'm talking about the hit
This is so
series.
adult.
The hit series Jouran, the Princess of Snow and Blood. We'll get to that aspect of it.
Was that supposed to be good?
I mean, it wasn't supposed to be like anything. It just looked neat.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's where it begins and ends, and also doesn't begin in the actual series.
Dude, it has to be. It's so adult. It has to be good. Even the first episode. Look at the title. It's like it says, "The Blue Flower of Carnage." Wow.
Yeah.
Anyways, keep going.
Where to even start with this series? So I guess premise. Premise is probably a good one.
Uh-huh.
So it's alternate history Japan. Get this. It's still the Meiji era. The 64th year.
Dude,
And
people
the
have such
Tokugawa shogunate are still there. Wow. Yeah, it was never abolished.
essentially,
It's supposed to be 1931. By the way,
Was that
might be thinking,
before or after the war?
It's in an alternate history of Japan in 1931 in the
Oh.
64th year of the Meiji era. So I guess World War II never happened, and I guess that means that Japan is basically like Wakanda now. I mean, literally, they still have some people have fucking Japanese style houses and shit. Pretty much most people seem to. And then there's that like World War One, pre-World War II era like dress and also like cars and stuff. But then you also, for some reason, have like sky rails and fucking laser things and just weird shit. And then like pictures that are inconsistent and stuff that looks like it's from like future stuff. Maybe they'll get into that. Who knows?
It's probably just magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing too, is that the world has like changelings, like werewolves and
Nice.
shit like that.
Real nice. Very good.
Yeah, so one of the worst parts about this series is that it doesn't really tell you any of that in the beginning. It kind of just throws you into it.
That's called in media res, Dark.
That's
That's how
normally
literature works.
that is normally
Yeah.
okay if you show the premise of your show.
No, you're not supposed to tell them anything. You just confuse them.
You
That's how
can't
in
really
media
like
res works,
throw
right?
someone into it and then just be like not explain anything, not say who anyone is, not like say anything about the organization. And the only like thing you get is like, yeah, Meiji era Tokugawa shogunate is still around. Doesn't explain anything of what's happening.
Look at this guy over here not knowing how literature works. That's how
it's like, oh, of course. How could I have forgotten clearly when it's an alternate timeline? If the Meiji era and the Tokugawa shogunate never went away, we'd have fucking changelings running around. I forgot. Silly
Sorry,
me.
bro. Should have known.
Really need to brush up on my Japanese history.
Should have watched the OVA.
And it also never really, even by episode 4, it still hasn't really gone through the idea of like, why do we care that the Tokugawa shogunate is still there and in power? Like, it doesn't, like, they use a bunch of buzzwords like freedom and fucking like true freedom and like what would you call it? Not like a betrayer, a like, what do you call that? Like, they're not like, it's not a betrayer, but they're like they betrayed like the
Traitor?
shogunate. Yeah, traitor. There you go. They call people like fucking traitors, and it's like, but you're not telling me why.
So
why are they
essentially,
traitors? How are they traitors? How is this even impacting the fucking world? Because so far, all they've done is they're like, there was a funny clan with blue blood, and they were fucking changelings, and now they're like, is a guy making changelings, I guess.
Essentially, like, how do I say this? So Tokugawa. So you guys know what the sort of the shogunate era was, right? It was like the sort of general, a warring general era, and then Tokugawa, the Tokugawa clan, right? The Edo clan, Tokugawa clan, whatever, is the one that sort of unified everything and kind of ended the general warring generals era and put them all under the Tokugawa rule, and essentially they became the emperor, right? And did all this stuff, and they had, they had good, decent economic growth, but you know how it's like the modern sort of view of it is, right? It's like obviously having an emperor isn't the best. I mean, Japan still praises its emperors quite a bit.
I mean, the problem is that this show doesn't do anything.
Right. I get that. So what I'm saying is that it's like one flaw, quote unquote, that often gets pointed out in the Tokugawa shogunate is that it was isolationist in the sense that it was pretty anti-Western. Like if there were things coming in from Europe or wherever, it was like, no, fuck this shit. But even
it was pretty anti everything.
Yeah, but the thing is, even in that sense, like overall, the Tokugawa shogunate isn't really seen either in Western history textbooks nor even in Japanese history textbooks as a completely like terrible era. So it's very weird for.
I mean, this
anime
also doesn't.
obviously.
It also doesn't make sense for this anime either, because it's like you're describing it like that, but it's like in the show we see people in fucking Western dress.
Right, exactly.
Like they're wearing these like fucking suits and Western hats and in cars, and it's like, okay.
This is essentially the equivalent of a cowboy western written in like the 80s, and then people are just like, yeah, let's just put things in it. Like they have jeeps, and then like people are just riding around, and then they say stuff, and then they shoot each other. That's like this is essentially it's like the Japanese equivalent of a spaghetti western. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's like one of the worst. It's probably one of the worst examples of like an attempt at having. I don't actually no. I can't even say like a blend of like a period piece and like future stuff, because it's all over the place. Like it has like the World War I, World War II stuff, but then it has even more than that, and then it has less than that everywhere. It's like, okay, you kind of do need to make up your mind at some fucking point as to how this even functions. Like,
Right, exactly.
I mean,
you
it's
can't
just
hit.
it's a pretty bad take on alternate history in general. Because
Again, it's like a spaghetti western.
yeah, like you really can't. Because like I mean, talking personally, like the idea of like the alternate history where like the Tokugawa shogunate was like never abolished, like that's pretty interesting. But you can't really do that and be like, yeah, it's like the 1930s, like just before World War II, and like it's the Tokugawa shogunate, and everybody's dressed up like they're in a Western ball. Like, what?
Yeah,
No,
and
like that's
and
literally
one of
not
the
the Tokugawa shogunate.
one of the character, the blonde, is, I'm fairly certain, American
Yeah,
and speaks
like
English. Like,
like
so
it,
it's like,
it doesn't really matter like what year you set your alternate history Tokugawa shogunate in. Like, it still has to be the Tokugawa shogunate. Like, you can't really fuck with that.
yeah. The only real like thing to do at that point is to have your story kind of centered around the rest of the world having like moved forward,
Mhm.
or just like the rest of the world's interactions with that. It's like shit though. Yeah, it like that was silly. But anyway, to get into the main character, our main character, who is very cool and very much an adult and very serious, Sawa Yukimura. Um, so she's like a changeling or whatever, and she turns into a not quite bird, but kind of maybe thematically speaking. Um, she doesn't like, for some reason she doesn't have like a beast form. She just like kind of her kimono just like kind of changes to almost look like feathers, and then her hair changes and she gets blue lipstick, and she gets like that skull effect on her face, which is pretty cool. The transition is like kind of nice, and like the effects kind of look pretty cool. But yeah, so she's working for like a secret organization called Nue, and she's trying to like find the guy who killed her entire clan. Which I should add, you only find out in like episode 3 or something. You only find out really, or you only really get the full picture in like episode 2 or 3.
Okay.
Spoiler alert, she kills the guy who killed her clan in episode 4.
The fuck?
Yeah, she gets her revenge by episode 4. There's a lot going on in this show, by the way. Yeah, it's kind of insane. So yeah, so she was working for this organization, but realistically, she's like kind of just trying to find that guy. So she does shit that she shouldn't and gets kind of on the bad side of most of the other people. Pretty much like every other member of the organization has like their own agenda, which makes things even more fucking confusing, because you're like, what is anyone's end game here? And then it's kind of like, well, who knows? They're spies. Okay, but sure. Normally you should do that with maybe one character in a larger show, not fucking, all 5 of them. trying to think of what else. Then there's like another plot line where like she killed the family of the younger girl, but it seemed like the family of the younger girl was like trying to fucking marry her off to like a 40-year-old anyway. And she seemed to be abused in the fucking like what is it? In like the flashback they had anyway, and then she fucking like blows up her house and kills her parents but saves her because she's like, well, I'm not gonna let a child die. I can't do that. I only killed 3 people just now, but and then like so then the little girl is like has her own revenge story of she's like, I want to kill her, but like I don't, but I do, but I don't
What
really
the
want
fuck?
to. And then she like tries to, but it's like it's not gonna work because she's fucking immoral anyway as a changeling. Like pretty hard to kill her. And then that's like a whole thing. But anyway, yeah, like I said, by episode 4, I don't know what's gonna happen further than that because she got her revenge like through and through. There's not even a twist that like this guy wasn't the one who killed her clan. Like he absolutely did it to experiment on it, and we know 1,000% because of what we saw. Yeah, that's another thing too. He has like a centrifuge in like a thing, so like that's something, I guess. They have those in 1931. Is that called the centrifuge? No, what is the thing? The thing that like spins like vials super fast to like separate the contents.
That's a centrifuge.
Yeah,
Yes.
they call it a
centrifuge.
centrifuge.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, he has one of those, which also, for whatever reason, by the way, when he takes the blue blood from her and puts it in a fucking centrifuge, it turns into like a rock. Not how a centrifuge works whatsoever.
I don't think that's how it
You
works.
could fucking spin something in there at 1,000,000 miles per hour. It will never turn into a fucking solid.
That's it's supposed to separate into layers. That's why you use that's why you use a centrifuge.
Well, in general, things that I mean, unless it wasn't supposed to be a centrifuge and it was supposed to be a funny little like thing that compresses things. Don't know why you would put glass vials in that, but
I know that. Yeah.
So yeah, so like that was another fun part of that. The story's pacing is all over the fucking place. Like I said, it starts in media res and tells you nothing. Then at the end of episode 1 is when like the little girl it ends with a shot of her holding a fucking blade over the main character's throat at night. Episode 2 starts in the middle of like a mission with the main character again. And then proceeds to go through that for about 12 minutes and like the rest of the episode. And then about 15 minutes in, it goes to like a smaller section with the little girl again. And she's like, yeah, I tried to kill her the other night. And I'm like, we're getting back to that now? That was the stinger at the end of the last episode. You kind of need to start with that. You can't show me that stinger and then be like, we'll get to that at the end of the next episode. Like, it's insanely hard to like fucking
follow.
Follow like what they're trying. Like, it's easy to follow, but it's like hard to wrap your head around like why they would do this. And also, episode 1 especially, it likes to introduce characters and then pretend like we should fucking care about them for whatever reason. Like episode 1 tried to do it, episode 2 tried to do it, and the entire time I'm just like, yeah, but I don't care about these people and I don't know who they are. Like these are characters I've seen for 5 minutes. And you're like, isn't it crazy
you seem to be going through a lot of series this season that are like that aren't really, they don't really care about characters. First it was Sentoin and Hakashira's, and now it's this, right?
Maybe your sense of picking good series is off this season, Dark.
No, he's just
I
taking
mean,
a
I
lot of
wasn't
bullets.
picking them. I'm just taking the bullets because I'm like,
Yeah.
whatever, I'll do it. Trying to think. I mean, there's more to get into briefly, but I'm trying to think of what else with that stuff. Yeah, it was a lot of like introducing characters and acting like you should fucking care, and it's just like, well, I don't.
Sorry,
The
it's
main
like yeah.
character is really fucking cool. We know really nothing about her. She has no fucking personality whatsoever, other than I'm angry and also I'm edgy. And she fucking recites poetry at the end of like an episode when she kills someone. So like that's really cool.
Nice.
Um,
That's how you know it's
she
good.
also like merges with a bird, but they never really say why.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean it doesn't seem to be like other changelings do that as far as from what I've seen. Like she does it. Maybe that was with her clan. Who the fuck knows? Trying to think of what else. The skull shit has apparently like at least for now like no real like story purpose other than like yeah they're monsters. And then like I said, Tokugawa Shogunate has no fucking actual like part in this other than like yeah imperial rule. It sucks. We're not going to show you why, but
Tokugawa
it does.
Shogunate. Fuck it.
Yeah, it sucks. We're going to keep showing you a relatively peaceful town constantly and just like pretty decent life for people, but other than that, you know. And then was episode they kind of just go like yeah, that was another thing. They try and do like, you know, oh, they killed English insurgents that were here and like fucking
Okay. Sure.
what was the other thing? And then they were like they also killed like a bunch of like what do they call them? They're not like rebels or whatever. And they said that it was a pandemic. But meanwhile, it's like the imagery they show is a bunch of people like fucking bled out in their like kimonos and shit on a beach, and it's like, and then they dump the bodies in the water, and I'm like, well, not much of a pandemic if you can see they're all fucking cut up, but sure.
Exactly.
And yeah, it was pandemic, caught the flu. And yeah, so that was that. Yeah, so main character not very good. Supporting cast also not good. Voice acting for one of the characters is very strange. Its name is Kuzuhara Jin, and it's the voice actor is Chikihiro Kobayashi.
Okay.
And like he's not a bad voice actor by any means, but I don't know why directing wise they decided to have him like whisper all of his lines in this series. But he barely emotes when speaking. Maybe because his character was all about like emotion suppression. Which to get into briefly, by the way, if you're ever writing a story, revenge is like basically an emotion. So don't hit me with you can't feel emotions when you're trying to get your revenge. Okay? You need to suppress that. It's like the entire fucking concept of revenge is emotion fueled.
Yeah, pretty much.
What is the point of getting revenge if it's not because you're angry and you want a form of catharsis?
No, it has to be it has to be a logical revenge, okay?
Yeah.
That's how revenge works, okay, bro?
Yeah, and then you shouldn't feel good about that once you get it either.
Yeah.
Okay.
Revenge is the best. Revenge is the play best served cold. Didn't you know that just means you have to be all logical. Yeah, exactly. Oh my god.
Yeah, so like that sucks. The fights are not good. The animation is not very good. Some of the fights have like some shots that wind up being pretty decent. Overall though, the show's style is better than its animation, which is never
Okay.
a plus. And way better than its directing. Its directing is fucking abysmal. As an example, who in their right fucking mind, and this happens multiple times, makes the decision to have two main characters in a like restaurant environment sitting at a table speaking, and we can't hear their conversation because like something else is going on. Like we're listening, like there's a scene where all you hear is like a radio talking about like the Tokugawa shogunate or something.
Okay.
And like normally like that's fine. That's fine to have that's fine to have in a series. But the directing is fucking the shot is shot reverse shot with the two characters anyway in this restaurant.
Right.
So like like we can see them. We're right on them. They're the main focus of the scene. And their mouths are moving. But we don't hear that. We hear the radio that is somewhere. We don't see the radio, but we can, we understand it's radio from the like low pass filter and shit on it. But we don't see that anywhere. And then it doesn't go to like other people when they're talking or like anything else. It's just on the two characters talking, but with no voices coming from them. And it's fucking bizarre. Because it's like, how do you have a scene like that and you don't say to yourself, show the characters sitting down, maybe show them from far away having a conversation, but then like if you're gonna make us listen to a radio, have the radio in frame, like show
Right, exactly.
the radio close up, then show the rest of do like a panning shot of the fucking like restaurant, then show the other focus that the characters are looking at. Do a shot reverse shot of show the character talking, then show her looking off in the distance, reverse shot it, and show us the fucking like waitress that they're looking for while they're there. Why don't you do that instead of just fucking having us on these two characters silently talking for like a full minute until all of a sudden now we're allowed to hear them and they're like, hey, there's a waitress over there. Like, okay. They do that. They did that multiple times. It's like it's weird. It's like it's like trying to have like a montage and just not doing music, doing like fucking actual what's that called with the like the scene sound? I forget. There's a specific term for like environmental sound plus like like the real sound that's there. Everything that isn't a soundtrack.
BGM.
Diegetic sound. There you go.
Oh.
Yeah, like only having diegetic sound in a fucking scene like that is insane. Like absolutely fucking absurd. So yeah, you could say this series is cool.
Yeah, it's very like there are some series that like I don't know, they just muddle themselves up. They just trip over themselves. I think it's the closest way I can describe it. It's very weird. But anyways, thank you, Dark, for helping cover Jouran, the Princess of Snow and Blood. And with that, we are finally on to, I guess, me. And I am covering one of the more talked about series of the season, I would say, right? I think people will agree. It would be Ijiranaide, Nagatoro-san, or Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro. It is a manga original. And as the title might suggest, it's very, very episodic, although there's like tiny bits of development every like once 50 chapters or whatever. But It's an episodic manga about, or I guess series about a junior or a kohai Nagatoro underclassman girl who is essentially like a tan gal, whatever, like mischievous, etc., etc. And then,
So Spire,
what? Yeah.
how do you feel about this series being compared to Kaifuku?
Wait, what? Wait, did it?
Why?
Wait, who compares it? Okay, you say this, but who actually compares it to Kaifuku? I have not seen anybody say anything close to that.
Oh, I have
think-
my sources. How do you feel about it being what is it compared to DV and as bad as Kaifuku when it comes to portraying?
No, that's not. Comparing it to domestic violence, comparing it to Kaifuku it's nowhere close. It's essentially it pretty much is just like teasing, like the whole like Nagatoro thing. It's like Nagatoro teases the main character male who is literally just known as senpai, and then that's pretty much how it goes. The background characters kind of dip in and out, but for the most part, they're just there to be like, hey Nagatoro, aren't you maybe in love with the the upperclassman senpai? As then she'll be like, nah, are you kidding me? Or like they'll like stoke her jealousy. But other than that, like the background characters are kind of whatever off to the side. So it's very episodic. There's not much to say about the manga or the anime in terms of its plot. It's just her teasing the senpai, and then like tiny bits of development every 50 chapters or whatever. As for the audio visuals, the audio, there's not much to say. Session said in chat, hot tip, don't image search the author. The reason for that is the author himself made separate like dojin, sort of his own sort of independent stuff. That's apart from the official Nagatoro manga, and it's a little bit more hardcore than what's in the manga itself. What else? Yeah,
I talked about this before.
Yes.
Yeah, don't look it up.
So the reason why I cover this is I've been a pretty big fan of the manga for a long time now, and then so I just covered it. And then what was I gonna say? Oh right, audio visuals. There's nothing much to say about the audio in terms of the OST, whatever. The what is it? The Seiyu cast, right? The voice actress cast is very good. It's a lot of the big hitters. Uesaka Sumire doing Nagatoro, I think she's a very, very good pick. I thought she, from her, how she uses her voice, I thought she would just be like full on, like, I'm over here, I am fucking Uesaka Sumire, hear me roar, this is my voice, deal with it kind of thing. And I thought she would turn that on 100%. But she actually managed to dial it down to her to a 60 or 50%, her own like unique inflections, right? And her kind of like the way she kind of tweaks her voice at the end. She turned that down to like a 60, 50%, and then the rest is a very like in your face, like I'm mischievous, like Kadu or whatever. And she does that very, very well. So props to her for doing that. Yamashita Daiki on the MC does a pretty standard like, oh, I'm a cowardly little, like male protagonist who's shy about her. Does whatever, like that doesn't take too much effort.
Does he sound like a simp?
I don't think that's not how I would describe him. The other characters, Suzuki Aina, Komatsu Mikako, a lot, Misuki, Nana, all big hitters. I don't need to say too much about them. Visuals, right? So the interesting thing is the studio behind this, TMS Productions, I believe, Telecom Animation Film, has done a couple of series. None of them super big. I think most recently they were known for doing what is it? Tower of God, actually. So that's kind of interesting, but I think they've improved a little bit from then on, or rather, this doesn't really require that much animation, right? It's like a lot of it's like sitting down or walking or whatever. And I mentioned this to Dark is it's decent. There's more animation than I expected, and a lot of it's like when the MC, the main character, is sitting down or like he's like walking, like the bobbing and stuff like that. It's like it's kind of like I'm watching a slice of life movie, anime movie at times, where it's like they're just adding a bunch of frames to them, like to them sitting down or walking or swaying from side to side for kind of like no real reason other than they have the money to do so, and it's kind of interesting, but it is what it is. Other than that, I don't have too much to say. Again, I really do like the way that Uesaka Sumire really fucking delivered on the lines with Nagatoro. The animation, the visuals are, what they are. That's pretty good. It's overall, it was a good adaptation from manga original to anime. I don't think it would have. I mean, I don't think it was quite difficult to do since it's not really that plot driven. It's a very episodic, very like bite sized, perfect for turning into an anime. So yeah. Other than that, I don't have too much to say.
Let's talk.
Oh, I talked about this with Dark too. Overall, like the whole like teasing thing aside, I think Nagatoro. What the? This fucking Dark. I think Nagatoro-san, Ijiranaide Nagatoro-san, comes in with a solid objective, like it's going to run this episodic thing where the kohai, the underclassman, teases the upperclassman, and it accomplishes its objective quite well. So for that, I do have to give it prop. That's pretty much what I think of it. Toast, what were you going to say?
So, Dark, care to explain that fun image of yours?
Oh, well, whatever do you mean?
Would you like to? Would you like to?
Well, that depends.
Would you like to pause it?
Do you want to get into that now?
Yeah, you just go.
As well.
Just go.
All right. So, fun thing with this series. Well, there's a couple of things. So, what was it? Today on Twitter it was trending because it's one of the newer episodes. They like Crunchy our lords and saviors at Crunchyroll decided to throw in there like you've been acting really sus in their subs because their editor is fucking hilarious. Don't like. Let me tell you something. This guy is going places. Yeah, people were upset about that. To which then other people like apparently someone made like a whole thread and they got fucking racist in it.
What?
Yeah,
Yes,
why did they get
absolutely
racist in it?
racist and like
because they're fucking
transphobic.
unhinged and
Because they're
fucking
insane.
It's literally like a 400 tweet chain where it's like the first 10 tweets are like, man, Crunchyroll subs suck. By the way, fuck trans people and minorities. It's like,
Yeah.
Like,
insane.
what the fuck?
It goes like
absolutely
completely
Oh my
off
God.
the rails, like
Just,
incredibly so.
You guys can't see me right now, but I'm literally just taking my glasses off. I'm putting okay. You can hear me. I'm putting my glasses. Oh God, what the fuck, man?
I mean, it was the same sort of incredible feeling. Incredible feeling I got from that one guy like last year during the I think it was during like a George Floyd like protest, and he just started. What did he say? We're all like, and then N-word, the N-word. Remember that guy?
Oh, are you talking about? He was like a fucking like. Was he a cop? He was a cop, right? Or was he like a manager or something? He got up in front of a crowd and he said some absolutely insane shit, and everyone was like, "Bro, like, don't say that."
Hold on, let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, because I know what you're talking about. He was like talking about like, yeah, we're all in this together, and then he says some crazy shit like, we're all N-words, and everyone's like, what?
Yeah. He's in the middle of the street. He's like saying shit, and everyone's like, yeah, and then he just goes, we're all boop, And it's like, and then the crowd immediately is like, what?
No, like, yeah, no,
And then
bro,
just
stop.
turns on him instantly. It was awesome. But God, yeah.
Yeah, that tweet chain was
that was really
trending
how it felt
worldwide.
for me. And I was just like, yeah, Crunchyroll does suck. But I mean, the big thing is just like, you're a bigger fool if you didn't expect that from this series. Like, to being subbed from Crunchyroll, like, this is the series that gets those subs at Crunchyroll. Like, how have people not realized it yet? I
I
said
just wish that.
to name a few. It's like off the top of my head, Gabriel Dropout.
And I said, "Why?" I like how you try to list.
Umaru was really one of the bigger ones in the beginning. Like, that had fucking absolute meme subs.
There was a video I watched on the last season of Symphogear, right? And there was a comment in the video section that like I like didn't really like watch the entire clip, and I was just going through the comment section because I was just like going through the playlist for some reason. And then one of the comments said, and I looked back, and he was actually right about the translation, and he was like, you literally translated it the opposite way of what they meant to say. I'm just like, this is professional. Like, what are you guys doing? like, it's it's already bad enough that you guys are not translating this stuff accurately, or try to warp it in your own way. Be like, oh yeah, I'm the fucking anime writer now. I'm the fucking screenwriter now, or script writer now, and I'm gonna put in like sus, and now you're a Gamergate freak or whatever this bullshit is, right?
Yeah, it's like how did you
Tears died.
how did you not think this was gonna happen? You had Gamergate freak, you had fucking like Umaru, then you had Gabriel Dropout, then you had Sure Children, you had both seasons. Oh no, I think just the first season of Kaguya. I don't think they got season 2. I think Funimation got it.
Funimation was season 1 as well.
Funimation was season 1 as well?
I
Didn't
believe so,
Crunchyroll?
yes.
Crunchyroll also had subs for season 1 though, because Crunchyroll were the ones that subbed what was it, like her line, Kaguya's like
Yeah,
typical
weak
line, like,
sauce.
how cute
Yeah.
as weak sauce.
Oh,
That was Crunchyroll.
and the rail. Wait, who did fucking Railgun the sissy?
Yeah,
or whatever
Railgun was Crunchyroll with Sissy
Fuck!
as well.
Oh,
And it's like,
God!
and
Oh!
Index. And it's like,
Oh!
how have you not realized this? Especially for a series
It's called
like
sissy hypnosis, dude. Like,
like, how did you get this far? And like, even if we exclude Railgun and we exclude Prison School, which I guess like Prison School you don't really need to exclude because it's kind
Prison
of
School was
along the same
Funimation
lines of,
too,
like,
because that was a dub.
oh really?
Yes.
Wow.
That was the Gamergate Freaks was a dub, so that was Funimation.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so exclude those. So even if we're just talking Crunchyroll, it's like, it's for a series like this. How are you someone who didn't see Umaru, didn't see Gabriel Dropout, didn't see Sure Children, didn't see? I don't know if they had anything crazy in Takagi-san. I don't remember. I don't think so though. But like, dodged all of those. Dodged Kaguya-sama. Kaguya-sama of all fucking shows, like, you were living under a rock if you didn't see those subs and immediately fucking like recoil. How like, it's your own fucking fault at this point for watching this piece of shit, like these subs coming out and not just waiting for another group to pick it up. Because they have wisened up at this point. Groups see shit like that and will resub them. Like, there are a decent number of shows that I've found don't usually get subs, at least don't get them fast. Kaguya-sama and like something like this will get subs fast because they fucking know that literally official subs now are just fucking meme subs.
It just makes me really angry that like, well, what makes me the most angry is that like how do I say this? Like, how come even back then, right? Like 5, 7, 10 plus years ago, right? We were in a stage where, you know, we were still insulting shitty fan subs, right? Like as we should, right? If somebody's adding memes or whatever, and they're just like, oh man, fucking, or they have some character say like fuck this or whatever it is, right? Then we give them shit for it, and then we're like, this isn't proper grammar or whatever. You guys are freaking idiots for doing this. And I think fan subs went through a lot of shit. They went through a lot of criticism, and the ones remaining still get a decent amount of criticism to this day, right?
Yeah, well, one of the ones remaining clearly didn't see any of that or the ProZ video because
right.
I've
What
seen
I'm
the
saying,
speed subs for Godzilla.
what I'm saying is that regardless of the quality, they ended up getting shit for it, and that's as should be. That's perfectly as should be. But why? The thing that befuddles me the most is why on earth are the official subs that people pay for and are the most wide stream and should be the most should be the most sort of regulated, or the ones that everybody should be paying attention to? Why are these Funimation Crunchyroll subs like just able to just do whatever the fuck they want, and somehow nobody that watches these like knows even a lick of Japanese, or like does like nobody thinks that these things are wrong in any sort of way, right? Like,
well, I can tell you right now. It's the audience. One, sir,
right.
I'll have you know, Crunchyroll had Attack on Titan Season 1 on it, okay? Subbed, okay? So when I started watching anime, it was there. So it must be good.
yeah, that's
Okay?
true.
So that's one. That's one right there. But judging from the like Twitter shit that I've seen, I'm like, you know what? A lot of this stuff makes more sense now. Because the blowback to that thread was just as bad as the thread. Because you instantly had people that were like, see, before this series came out, everyone was saying, oh, it's going to own SJWs, it's going to do this, but now look at them. They get sus and they get all up in arms. And it's like, bro, who the fuck was saying this about this series? Like, where was this talk that was
also
like,
imagine
it's
unironically
gonna...
saying that like a show is going to own SJWs.
But that's but I'm saying like that's what people were saying about this series. Like that
So
was a
cringe.
common thing. And I'm like, that didn't happen. Like they might have said that about Redo of Healer. They definitely said that about Redo of Healer. Who the fuck was saying that about this?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
there were a ton of people that were like, if you don't like the subs, don't watch them, okay? I love them. I like them a lot. I think they're funny. And then, followed up by, see, you're just mad because you thought this show was going to own the SJWs. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, that's the audience that thinks that this is okay because they have no idea what the fuck they're even, like, saying.
Yeah, it's very disappointing. Anyways.
Yeah, you know what the sad part is for me? I used to say the word sus all the time. Sus or suspicious before Amoga.
Sus was the thing way before.
The thing is, okay,
and then now when I say it, all I can think of is
clearly
Amoga.
That
and I'm
was
like,
not why they subbed it like this.
Here's the thing. Mm-hmm.
Whoever this fucking like villain is at Crunchyroll that's making these subs,
villain,
it's got to be one fucking person, right? Like there is no goddamn way.
Wait, isn't there like some like female translator on Twitter that was like there was like some stupid fucking translation that went out, and then she like bragged about it afterwards, like like I was the one that triggered all of you nerds or whatever it was. Like, did she say that?
I don't remember that. But
I forget
pretty
if it was.
sure-
I
I'm
forget
pretty
if it
sure
was
that
for
was
the
the girl
game
that
or
wrote. Yeah, that was the Gamergate Creeps one. I'm pretty sure.
Really? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
like bragged about it afterwards, like,
Yeah,
oh
and
yeah, I was the one
and
who
everyone was
created
like,
it.
"You're a fucking idiot." Like,
Yeah, it's like that.
it's
Yeah,
stupid. Like,
yeah.
enjoy
you're literally
not working, I
ruining.
suppose.
Like, you're ruining media to like fucking like
To own people.
own people.
That's like you know that painting of the Jesus painting that got like ruined and looks like a circle now or whatever.
Yeah, it's
right?
like
It's like
the guy that restored that was like owned
art
artists,
nerds. Yeah,
but like okay,
you're fucking stupid.
No, I mean it's literally like seeing someone and just like I don't even know, but your way to own them is like I'm I'm gonna eat this whole plate of shit. It's like owned, you're owned. It's like what? This is like you're owning me by supporting these subs. What is that? Why?
This is
You're
how you get
owning
paid
me
by
doing
exposure.
you're owning me by either A, being the person who puts out these subs and you're just subbing shit wrong because you either think you're funny or you want to own me, which I guess, sure. Like it's like, I made you mad. It's like you did make me mad because
But you're still
stupid.
doing a stupid thing.
Like,
Yeah,
you're a
you're
fucking
still
idiot.
stupid. Like,
Like,
what
cool.
the fuck?
Like, it would make me mad if I saw you promoting fucking driving your head through a wall. Like, I'd be like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, cool. I'm owned, I guess. But yeah, no, it's definitely not 3 paid interns on this shit. Like, there's no way that the stars align that you get shows like fucking Kaguya and Surezure Children and this, and like, I can't even remember. There was another series too that had it like just as fucking bad, but with these very specific meme subs where you can fucking laser point to where you're like, this editor thought that thinks they're fucking funny and wants other people to see it, and they think that it's so good that other people should see it. And
it's
like,
only the English
no.
too, by the way. People have looked into like the other languages that Crunchyroll like.
Well, of
subs they put
course. I
out.
mean,
Oh yeah,
they have
because it's
different
one
spreads,
person.
It's only
it's-
the like
It's the one fucking editor for the English subs. Like it's abysmal. It's like, and then the amazing response. I think Crunchyroll literally had to respond to it sometime. I forget for who it was for. I think it might have been during Kaguya. But they literally put out a thing that was like, well, we localize, we don't just translate. It's like,
What the fuck does that mean? What the fuck does that
localize.
mean?
Like, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah,
Fucking
I
English
localize-
speakers are semi-retarded, so we need to
I
have
localize
fucking memes.
kawaii so to weak sauce. You know, for the general audience.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah,
Oh
first
my
of all, the
God.
general audience of the like English speakers who still use the term weak sauce in the year 2019,
Yeah.
apparently. And truly, truly incredible stuff. The incredible minds of Crunchyroll. They're at work there. It's, yeah, I don't know.
Anyways,
One
yeah.
day, we're gonna find out who that fucker is, and we're gonna make fun of him on Twitter.
One day, fucking maybe. Oh, man, fuck Crunchyroll. This is we've been saying this forever, but yeah, fuck
I mean,
Crunchyroll.
seriously
Anyways.
though, as a fucking organization, like how do you fucking see that, and you know the person who's there doing it, and you're like,
The word. The thing is, the thing I think also what I want to say is that the one argument that I hate more now than ever is that like because it's like the last line of defense for the Crunchyroll people is like, well, it's better than nothing, and I'm like, is it though? First of all, like we've had subs and resources for quite some time, and they've only been really like growing, except for when fucking horrible subs and Crunchyroll, try to join forces and fucking try to stab it in the heart, right? Other than that phase, like we've had more and more people jump into the pool, right? And secondly, like, is it better than nothing when that thing is literally just doing shit like this, meme shit like this, and translating things completely wrong and so on. And like, is it better? Like, is it better to see a really like a ruined painting of Jesus than to not see anything at all? Like, right?
See a painting?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like, is it better? It's like, you're
At
spoiled
some
food.
point,
It's better than nothing.
yeah, exactly.
You've got something on your plate. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't really like eating cockroaches.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
no, you're wrong. I would rather have nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, for fuck's sake, it's like it's better than nothing. There are people who are literally learning another language because you're so fucking bad at it.
right, exactly.
So they're like,
at that
never
point,
mind, I'll do it
yeah.
for
Anyways,
free. Like,
fucking stupid. But yeah, it's so unfortunate. But anyways, with that tangent of sorts, I guess question mark. But with that being said, that was or that part wasn't necessarily my evaluation for Nagatoro, but Nagatoro-san on the whole, as both the manga original and the anime adaptation, I think is a decent watch if you like these sorts of episodic, like teasing back and forth interactions between the girl and the boy. Check it out. And again, it's very episodic. There's like a smidge of character development every like 50, 60, 70 million chapters. So if you like that sort of episodic pacing.
But Spire.
Yeah.
Is it better than Takagi-san?
That's an interesting question, actually. I actually haven't considered the comparison too much before now.
it depends on what you're looking for, as far as I would understand.
I think Takagi-san is like how do I say this? I wonder if you guys would get me if I made this like analogy. Takagi-san is like Lay's or Lay's barbecue, and like Nagatoro-san is like Taki. You know what I mean? Like
Takis?
Taki, like the really sour chips, the rolled up chips. It's like
You mean the one they have at Six Flags, Takis? Or
I think they have it at more than Six Flags. Takis.
I don't know, man. Takis sponsors
Made
Six
famous
Flags.
by Six Flags.
Yeah,
I definitely don't see them in the supermarket and every gas station.
Yeah, exactly.
But I see them on roller coasters, like sponsored by Takis, and
I'm not saying it's not at Six Flags. I'm saying that I think it's definitely more than. But what I'm saying is like I think Takagi-san is definitely there's a lot more focus on like them kind of trying to do the will they won't they, right? It's like like they're teasing each other, but it's a very like mild, like vanilla kind of like ha 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 kind of teasing, and pretty much
it follows it up with like
and
some
every
development.
Yeah, exactly. Or like they at least try to keep teasing the development every time. With Nagatoro-san, it's just pretty much like the teasing is there, but it's like the author makes it very, very clear that like unless he's specifically aiming for the development in that chapter, he's not giving you shit. You know what I mean? It's very obvious he's not giving you shit. So it's pretty much just boom, 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 teasing. And then like chapter 51, like he'll be like, tiny bit of will they, won't they? And then he goes back. So it's a very like, it's a much more like hardcore, I think.
But Spire, if she really likes him, why does she resort to actual violence all the time? And Takagi-san, all she does is
That's just Japan. That's just Japan, I think. I have no answer for that.
I love putting people in a what is it? Ozura Subaru Watame killer hold. Just because I like them, and I'm
that's just Japanese slapstick humor. But yeah. Anyways, that's sort of how I compare it. I think it's like a Lay's chip kind of very standard, like teasing back and forth, will they, won't they, kind of Takagi-san. And then Nagatoro-san is pretty much boom, here it is. You're not gonna get the will they, won't they unless you specifically fucking beg for it for 50 chapters. So that's pretty much how that goes. Yeah, so with that said, that's my review of Nagatoro-san. Again, thank you to Stark for bringing up the different subjects that we did, I think, want to cover, honestly. But that's pretty much what I have, my opinions about it. If you like that sort of, back and forth interaction with very minimal character development, or the very minimal will they, won't they, check this out. And yeah, with that, we are moving on quickly to the news and obviously the shout out and call out afterwards. Very little on the news front, very little. So we'll be going over this pretty quickly. First, on the awards front, the International Animated Film Society, or ASIFA Hollywood, announced the winners for its 48th annual Annie Awards on Friday. No anime won awards this year. So unfortunate. Next. Comic-Con International announced on Friday that the Eisner Awards judges have nominated manga creator Hagimoto to be inducted into the Will Eisner Comic Awards Hall of Fame this year. So, so there are obviously other nominees as well. Most of them, Western. Let's see this. So Hagio is a pioneer of shoujo and shonen ai manga. They mean fucking BL. Shonen ai doesn't actually exist as a word in fucking Japan. But her works helped establish conventions of those in other fields. Hagio's There Were 11, A Drunken Dream, and Other Stories, The Heart of Thomas, Otherworld Barbara, and the Poe Clan manga have English releases. Her Little Leo manga has an English release planned, so on and so forth. So congratulations to her. One of the original Fujoshis, I guess. Let's see this. Pioneering Fujoshi. So, final piece of news, just a little
Who do
bit.
you think was the first Fujoshi?
I don't want to think about that, honestly. So a little bit on the COVID front. Unfortunately, I do want to cover this because it's like a major sort of like event. On the 23rd, sorry, on the it was 23rd, right? That was Friday. Yeah, on the 23rd of April, so that was a couple of days ago. Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga declared a new state of emergency in Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, and Hyogo prefectures on Friday, after the government's expert panel approved the plan earlier in the day. The new state of emergency will last from Sunday, April 25th to Tuesday, May 11th, unless it is extended further. So a bunch of restrictions to try to curb COVID. Japan has been seeing again, sort of like another sort of potential wave of COVID cases rising, so they're trying to clamp down upon it. Hopefully, it does get tamped down. Although they've already had to cancel, a bunch of events due to it, and really kind of restrict a bunch of stuff that's happening in the Tokyo Olympics, for example. So, unfortunate. On to the people news. The Twitter account for animator and director Kobayashi Osamu posted on Sunday that Kobayashi passed away on Saturday evening at the age of 57. The Twitter post explained that for the last 2 years, Kobayashi was battling kidney cancer. The post added, "It is regretful that there were more things he wanted to do and more works he wanted to make. And when he is reborn, he will surely make great works." He directed anime like Back Mongolian Chop Squad, Paradise Kiss, Sunday's Dreamers Sora, Table and Fisherman, End of the World, Digital Juice, and Anikuri 15. So please wish his family and friends condolences. Second, publisher Seirindo announced on Sunday that manga creator Fumino Hisamitsu Fumino, passed away on April 16th at the age of 77. So he debuted with the work Chikyu Ayaoshi manga volume at the age of 15. He worked as an assistant to Tezuka Osamu, obviously very famous. He designed characters and served as key animator for the Shonen Ninja Kaze Fujimaru, Boken Gabotenjima, and Mirai Kara Shonen Super Jetter anime. And he also drew the manga adaptations for all three. So, again, please wish his family and friends condolences. And with that, we are quickly going over to our shoutouts and callouts. Everybody here gets one shoutout and we'll call it each. And a shoutout is one thing that you want to praise. Shout out to the heavens, obviously. 5 out of 5. Thumbs up, 2 thumbs up. It can be any one person, place, or thing. And the callout is exact opposite. Something that you want to rage, rant about, insult, stomp underneath your foot, and can be any one person, place, or thing. And we start with Dark.
God, where do I begin? shout out to Titanfall 2. That game's fun. They should make another one of those things, you know? That'd be cool. I guess my call out's gonna be to the epic fucking Fox News take of Joe Biden's climate plan is gonna limit you to one burger a month. And then proceeds to use a shot of a McDonald's Big Mac. And even the promo material of a McDonald's Big Mac looks fucking terrible. But yeah, like for a couple of things. One cheeseburger a month is probably all you really should be having. Just gonna throw that out there. A month is that long of a time to be having, you know, that many fucking cheeseburgers. Two, why in God's name, when you think cheeseburger, you go, yeah,
Big
big
Mac.
fucking McDonald's cheeseburger. Yum. Like, oh, okay. Like, you know, you could have shown any other burger, really. And yeah, like
It's called what like am I one of the few people who don't like Big Macs? People always rave about, oh,
No.
the Big Mac's so great.
I
And it's like,
fucking hate. First of all, I hate McDonald's like cheeseburgers in general. Like, unless like you really specifically want one, which is very different from wanting a like burger.
Yeah.
Like you need to specifically fucking
specific
want.
McDonald's craving.
Yeah.
if you force me to eat something from McDonald's, I'd probably just get a quarter pounder or something.
Oh
Probably
yeah,
a
I mean
quarter
the
pounder.
Big Mac is one of the worst burgers on their fucking
Yeah.
menu. Like it's
If
like
I ever
90%
crave
bread.
McDonald's, I just get a double quarter pounder. Big Macs are fucking garbage.
Yeah, please, sir. I want more. I want more bread and lettuce with my burger. Thanks.
Oh yeah.
Yum. That's what I want. I want extra fast food bread and fast food lettuce. That sounds absolutely delightful.
Delish.
But yeah, that whole thing was fucking dumb.
Okay, so fucking what about your shout out? Or sorry, no, you already did your shout out for Titanfall, excuse me. So that was your shout out and call out, and the burger thing was pretty funny, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. But
Fucking one a month. Like, oh no, what a fucking travesty. Jesus Christ.
it reminds me of that one guy who like lived for 10 years by only eating burgers or whatever. That guy's
Yeah.
screwed. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy's fucked. That guy's fucked. He can't go blind anymore from malnutrition. Damn shame, really.
Oh,
What am I gonna do? I can't have dino nuggies more than fucking 5 times a week. Oh.
Oh Jesus.
Just what are gonna be like secret burger bars in people's basement nowadays?
Exactly. just you know people like the crack dealer with the big like what is it, the jacket or whatever. He opens it and it's like fucking burger. It's like packets of burgers.
It's the prohibition all over again, boys.
The inside lining of his jacket is a fucking White Castle crave case.
Instead of carrying the wine in your in the paper bag, you carry the burger. You're opening the paper bag and you're like, oh, it's just a burger. Fucking. Anyways,
what is it? Canned burgers will go up in price.
Fucking yeah.
Stop.
Hell yes. They're gonna have people trying to disguise it. They're gonna be blending them to put them in water bottles.
Oh Jesus, Toast. What about you?
Shout out.
Yes.
I guess to Flare and Robocall for hitting 600K. Why not?
Okay.
Omerito. Call out to the the weird people over at Hololive Indonesia who want them to speak exclusively like Indonesian and make their streams more Indonesian friendly.
Oh, that's the classic. That's a classic. I've heard that a lot of times.
Like, why?
I mean,
I can understand why, but it's probably not going to help them.
It's not gonna help them grow, you know.
It's gonna fucking kill them. But
it's like, why are you speaking English? You're Indonesian, and I'm like, I don't care.
well, the thing it's like you understand why Hololive's doing the thing that they do, and the whole like whatever. I mean, this discussion has been hashed over like a billion, so it's very tiring. Mostly.
I mean, what was it? What is it? Nijisanji Egypt or what is it? Didn't they have like an Egypt branch?
No,
It
it's
was
India.
India, right?
Yes, it was in.
I'm pretty sure
the same thing's happening with Korean branch too, with the whole like you gotta speak Korean or whatever. But
like, okay, but then your numbers will go down and people will care less about you. This is a worldwide phenomenon, you know. You gotta speak English to get in the game. Yes. But yeah. Let them do what they want, man. Get out of here.
okay.
I know Indonesia has an idol culture for some reason, but do Filipinos have an idol culture? Maybe? I don't know. I don't care.
Anyway, what about? Oh wait, you already did the. Sorry, I keep messing it up because it's like everybody kind of everybody's linking their shoutouts like callouts to each other pretty well today. It was surprising. Anyways, Nier, shout out call, please.
Man, I don't fucking know, dude.
How's life in Canada, Nier?
It sucks. Fucking everything's on lockdown and there's no vaccines and it fucking rocks. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But I'm just gonna call out the Nier replicant port. It sucks shit. It's a really bad port. And anybody defending it, and there are for some reason a lot of people defending it, are like fucking delusional. Like, you know, it's cool that you're like enjoying the game. And I understand it's kind of hard to be like, damn, I spent $60 on a fucking port that sucks massive cock. But the port sucks. It's not good. It has like no graphics options. It runs like shit. People with like fucking 3080s. And yeah, it's bad.
Okay.
As for shoutouts, I'm really not too sure. I had something in mind like 10 minutes ago, but it has completely vacated my mind. So I'm not too sure.
Okay. I guess I'll go then quickly. Fucking my shout out goes to see that. Yeah, okay. So my shout out goes to fucking popcorn or kind of this like diet popcorn spray kind of combination that I'm eating right now, which
Like
allows
diet
me...
popcorn spray? See, like the
No,
the butter?
no. Well, it's like a popcorn like flavoring spray. It technically has calories, but since it's like a spray form, it's much more efficient. Than,
like popcorn flavored spray? Or
no, it's butter flavored spray.
So that really
well, I
healthy
mean, Toast, keep in mind the stuff at the movie theater also isn't butter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is this Colonel Season's popcorn spritzer?
It's essentially, yeah, it's like a spritzer. It still has calories, but the thing is, the spray makes it much more efficient than glopping on the oil, or it saves on the calories a lot more.
Spire, let me tell you about I can't believe it's not butter in spray form.
Ew.
The thing is, like, there's like a slight difference between the flavors with like the regular like butter and like cooking sprays and like the popcorn. Like I've tried them, believe me. I've tried them, believe me. I've gone through the rounds, but this is what I specific. But
I can't believe Spire is against President Biden's green policy. You know,
yeah, I'm just
spray
yeah, that's
cans
true.
to produce
Yeah, right.
GSP.
Actually, yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to make it so that people can only have half a burger per month. Sorry, guys.
You
You guys are all fucked.
you eco-terrorist.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's my. So I've been eating the popcorn and stuff, and it's been nice. And then
But like,
my
aren't isn't that against? Isn't that counterintuitive? You eat popcorn because it's healthy, but then you spray it's unhealthy butter on it.
no, I'm not eating popcorn because it's healthy. I'm saying I'm eating popcorn because the specific like brand or yeah the brand I guess and the way I'm using the spray and everything makes it so that I have lower calorie. That's and I'm not saying that I'm reducing all of the calories. I'm saying I'm reducing a significant amount.
You're reducing
But
calories at the cost of harmful emissions, huh?
yeah, I'm killing everybody. Sorry guys. It's just something I have to do. But that's my shout out, and my call is for fucking these compression socks that I've been wearing, which I thought were decent for running, and then I was running for a week, and then suddenly like in the past couple of days, I've been hit with searing freaking pain on my shin
Gee, I
uh,
wonder why.
while I've been running. Despite the fact that these compression socks are supposed to help me with my shin splints. And yeah, so I've had to take them off and run without them, which kind of sucks because I spent money on these socks. But oh well.
What did you spend?
What? Oh,
What did you
I've
spend?
been I've
Did you
been
get the women's like 6-pack for
no
$72?
no. I bought like a regular like 3-pack. It was like a pretty cheap compressions set of compression socks for like 16, $17 or whatever it is. But yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate, but at least I didn't spend too much money on them. But I don't know. It was pretty obnoxious. But
Why
anyway,
why do my legs ache after wearing compression socks? If they hurt, this is a sign that you are wearing a size that is too small or you're wearing a compression that is too strong.
no,
You have to
the
measure your
size was
legs
okay.
now for
Yeah.
those. What?
No, the size was correct, but the compression might be the compression and the brand or slash the make might be a little bit off. Yeah, I have to see. But anyways, that was my shout out and call out. And with that, we are done with the episode for today. Again, we're gonna be this season. We're gonna have to cover so much freaking stuff for the season. So be prepared for like obviously we're gonna do our reviews per episode, duh. But be prepared because we might have a bunch. We might at the top of the podcast we might be saying we might be giving brief reviews for some certain series and so on and so forth. So be prepared for that. We're just going to try to cover as much stuff, much notable stuff as possible. And yeah, if you like what we do, we stream our live recording of the podcast every other Saturday, starting from 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over at twitch.tv/4PlayerAnimecast. That's with the numeral 4. And you can find us here again, talk about the latest and greatest in Japanese animation, anime, manga, light novels, web novels, visual novels, so much more. Check us out here. Check us all on our VOD. We have our podcast recorded and highlighted, clipped here. Check us on our YouTube channel for PlayAnimeCast, as well as on our social media for more updates and information on Twitter at 4PPAnimeCast, and on Facebook 4PlayerAnimecast, all with the numeral 4. And yeah, we'll see you next time.